No, ma'am, that's not true. Somebody just messaged me and said, how can you be mean to Stephanie Jenkins' children? By doing what? Making videos about two irresponsible parents? Let me put you onto something. Last year, Stephanie came out and said, we live in a one-bedroom apartment and we want to have a baby number 7. And if we go viral and reach 1 million followers, we will have a baby number 8. You guys have a mansion? You guys have all of that space? Oh no, we have a one-bedroom apartment, kids sleep on the floor. No big deal, we make do. So you're making content to get better your life? No, not really. We just like it. We love living this way. Oh, what about your children? Everybody asks. They're fine. They don't know any different. Let me just tell you what it's like to grow up in the family of that size. I grew up in the family of that size. I didn't know my mom until I was like 3 or 4 years old because my siblings were taking care of me and my siblings' girlfriends and wives. Because I had no idea. My mom never had a specific time for me. Do you know how effed up I am mentally? Do you know how mentally warped I am because of my upbringing? Each child deserves to have individual one-on-one time. If not at least once a day, maybe a couple times a week, okay? One-on-one, 10, 15, 20 minutes to say, I love you. I see you. I'm your mom. You're my baby. You're amazing. And give them all of those attaboys that they need to feel safety and security in their life. This girl is no dummy. She is never going to clock into a 9 to 5 ever again because she's figured out, you know what the next thing's going to be? She's going to be pregnant with twins or triplets and the entire world's going to watch just like Nadia Suleiman. She's no dummy.
Something very strange is happening in Stephanie Jenkins' world, and TikTok is in a full-blown spiral trying to figure it out. You'd think by now we'd be used to the chaos that follows her name, but no, this time, it's got a twist no one saw coming. Whispers are getting louder, comment sections are going wild, and the buzz is getting impossible to ignore. The internet's favorite train wreck might be hiding a huge secret, and no, this isn't just recycled drama. People are convinced Stephanie might be pregnant again. And baby, this rumor isn't coming out of thin air. Let's rewind for a second because the build-up to this has been messy. Stephanie's been jumping on live a lot lately, and each time, viewers have noticed something's off. Not just her usual over-the-top energy being turned down a notch, this is deeper. She's been saying she feels really sick, describing symptoms that sound suspiciously familiar: chest pain, breathlessness, constant nausea, weird fatigue, and heartburn that just won't quit. She's not brushing it off either. She's going into graphic detail, saying it's so bad she struggles to get out of bed some days. But it's the way she says it, calm, resigned, like this is her new normal, that's got people spooked. One live in particular had fans and haters frozen. She was alone in her car, looking pale and washed out, with barely any voice. No yelling, no sarcastic digs, none of her usual look at me vibe, just quiet. Tired. Drained. And in that moment, commenters stopped trolling and started worrying. That's how serious it felt. And then she casually drops one word, scan. Just that. Out of nowhere, she mentions she had a scan done recently. She didn't say why, didn't give details, didn't show paperwork or follow-ups, nothing. And that's when the internet lost it. Why? Because if there's one thing Stephanie has been loud about, it's her hatred for traditional medicine. We're talking full-on anti-doctor rants, mocking people for trusting hospitals, and calling prescription meds poison. This is someone who thinks a cup of dandelion tea cures everything. So what could have possibly pushed her to break her own rules and head to a clinic? That's when people started connecting dots like detectives on caffeine. The symptoms. The sudden doctor visit. The vagueness. Her face looking puffier in recent clips. Her mood swings. The way she keeps touching her stomach or leaning back like she's uncomfortable. Add all that to the fact that her past pregnancies played out with eerily similar red flags, and it was like setting fire to a pool of gasoline. But the real kicker? How quick she was to get help for herself, yet when it comes to her kids, especially her son Bubba, who's clearly been showing signs of needing developmental help, she's nowhere near that level of urgency. She's been saying for years that Bubba is autistic, but still hasn't gotten him formally evaluated. So why is one chest ache enough for her to run to a clinic, but her child's well-being isn't? That double standard did not go unnoticed. And people are pissed. Now TikTok is flooded with creators doing side-by-side comparisons of her recent lives and older pregnancy clips. Some are convinced her glow is back. Others are pointing out how every time Stephanie gets a quiet sick and starts acting secretive, there's usually something huge behind it. The energy isn't just suspicion, it's expectation. One TikTok comment, calling it now, Stephanie's pregnant, racked up thousands of likes. And once that comment went viral, the floodgates opened. Replies started pouring in, some sharing their own predictions, others linking clips where she looked nauseous or zoned out, and more still pointing to moments she seemed emotional or straight up not like herself. The theory was no longer just a theory, it was morphing into a widely accepted truth. What's wild is how calculated it all seems. Like Stephanie is trying to control the narrative before anyone else does. She's been oddly specific in what she shares, and what she doesn't. Dropping little crumbs but avoiding real answers. And when people ask, she either ignores it, deflects, or turns the conversation elsewhere. This time, the signs aren't just whispers, they're practically blaring sirens. The usual wild guesses have turned into bold declarations. People aren't wondering if Stephanie is pregnant anymore, they're saying it like it's already a fact. And honestly, can you blame them? If you've been keeping up with the Jenkins Chronicles, you know this wouldn't exactly be a plot twist, it would just be another messy rerun. Stephanie has a history, and not the pretty kind. Every time she's welcomed a new baby, it's been during a storm, no money, no stable home, no plan, just vibes and chaos. And this time? Nothing's changed. She's still holed up in that overstuffed motel room, the kind where kids are supposed to crash for a night, not live full-time with their siblings, their toys, and their entire childhoods. The place is cramped, noisy, chaotic, nothing about it screams safe space for a growing family. And yet, there's talk that she might be adding another baby to this overcrowded, unstable mess. Her children already sleep on thin blankets or straight up on the floor, eating out of fast food bags, running around unsupervised in the motel parking lot. There's no structure, no privacy, and definitely no calm. You can't even call it dysfunctional anymore, it's just survival. And the damage? It's showing. Her teenage daughter has gone from being a kid to being the full-time caretaker. While her friends are out going to dances or hanging at the mall, this girl is warming up bottles, changing diapers, and putting babies to bed while Stephanie's off ranting on Facebook Live or tangled in yet another fight online. The younger ones? They barely know what a park looks like. There are no birthday parties, no school field trips, no bedtime stories, just loud nights, inconsistent meals, and whatever distractions they can find in a motel hallway. And through all of that, Stephanie seems completely unbothered by the weight her decisions are placing on her kids. She doesn't pause to ask if she's giving them the childhood they deserve, or if bringing another child into this chaos is fair to anyone. She's even hinted before that her youngest might not be the last, and at the time, most people brushed it off as her usual attention-baiting talk. But now, that offhand comment is looking a lot more calculated.
Because the rumor has it, people are saying Stephanie is pregnant again. And let me tell y'all why. And let me clarify, this is all speculation. But y'all been saying it, so let's get into it. Now, here are the things that I cannot prove, but y'all can if y'all were there. Supposedly, there was a live where Drew and Stephanie were arguing about her being pregnant again. I heard this information on one of Morgan's videos, but she was not able to verify if it was true. And last night I stayed up looking for this and I could not verify if it was true either. And then on my own video, I had someone ask a question and say, is it true that Stephanie is pregnant again? They're saying that Drew posted it. Now, I was not able to find this post, but if y'all are able to find these posts, tag a girl, and then I can make a video about it. Now, as far as the other reasons why people are thinking that Stephanie is pregnant, let's get into that. Okay, so y'all know that recently she's been sick. Now, she always sick about something. She always got something going on, a cold, a runny nose, the post-nasal drip. It's always something, okay? But recently, she just posted a video like 3 days ago where she's like, yeah, I went to the hospital. And she then also says on the video, you know, she's a person that doesn't believe in that type of stuff. She believes in like herbal medicines and natural remedies and all this stuff. So she must have been feeling pretty sick to go to a hospital. Now, this caused a lot of people to speculate that she's pregnant because we know that Stephanie don't usually go to the hospital unless she's pregnant. And in fact, she don't even really take the kids to the hospital. Atlas is still running around undiagnosed. Now, again, this is all speculation. But if she's pregnant again, this would obviously mean that they're bumping uglies in the same room with the kids right there. It would also mean that they're about to add another baby or possible babies to this motel room. It would just be a tragic situation all the way around. It's not enough space for more kids. And it's just more of a reason for Desiree to get her son up out of there. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see if y'all's suspicions are correct.
Pair that with her sudden vague doctor visit, the not-so-subtle changes in her appearance, her low-energy demeanor, and the shift in her camera angles. Yes, people noticed how she started cropping herself higher, avoiding full-body shots. And it's not hard to see why the rumor mill is working overtime. It's not just speculation anymore, it's a full-blown internet investigation. And then, just to make things even more complicated, because when has Stephanie ever kept it simple, another theory started to take off. This one? It hits different. Some followers believe that if she is pregnant, it might not just be random. It could be emotional damage control. With Deshawn's biological mom now pushing for custody and reportedly gaining traction, Stephanie could be spiraling behind the scenes. Losing custody of Deshawn doesn't just mean losing a child, it means losing part of the identity she's clung to so tightly. Being a mom of 5 isn't just something Stephanie says. It's part of her entire persona. It's stitched into her content, her live rants, her TikToks, even her bio. So if that number drops, even by 1, that's not just a loss, it's a crack in the foundation of the entire Stephanie Jenkins brand. And if that theory's true, getting pregnant again wouldn't just be personal, it'd be strategic. A way to hold on to that identity, to distract from the fallout, to fill the emotional gap without actually facing what's broken. It might sound twisted to some, but for those who followed her behavior over the years, it tracks. Stephanie has a pattern. When the heat gets turned up, she doesn't retreat, she dials it up. More live streams, more cryptic posts, more chaos. So, yeah, in her mind, a new baby might just feel like the answer to all the criticism, the custody battle, and the growing backlash. And as the situation spirals deeper, one thing keeps hitting harder than anything else: the kids. No matter how you slice it, they're the ones caught in the crossfire of every bad decision, every impulsive move, every livestream meltdown. They're living at the center of a storm they didn't ask for, and it's getting harder to watch. The internet might be focused on whether or not Stephanie's expecting again, but behind all the speculation, the harsh reality is that these children are the ones paying for the chaos. Her oldest daughter? She's already worn down, and she's barely even out of childhood herself. She's not just helping out, she's carrying the weight of the household like a second parent. If a newborn does show up in the middle of all this, it's not Stephanie who'll be up all night with the baby, it'll be her daughter again, giving up what little is left of her own childhood to clean up after her mother's choices. And the worst part? It's become so normalized in that house, no one even questions it anymore. The kids are sleeping on thin couch cushions, mismatched blankets, or whatever space they can carve out on the floor. There's no structure. Meals are whatever they can scrounge up, fast food one night, random snacks the next. Days blend into nights, and there's no such thing as routine, or calm, or basic comfort. So the thought of bringing in another baby into that? It's not just irresponsible, it's cruel. Every resource in that motel room is already stretched to the limit. Add one more child, and the cracks won't just show, they'll split wide open. And here's where things get even more disturbing. People are now wondering how this pregnancy even happened, given their situation. That motel room isn't just small, it's barely livable. One single room serves as their bedroom, dining area, living space, and sometimes even workspace. So where would Stephanie and Drew even find privacy? There are no doors to close, no walls to separate adult space from children's space. The theories are getting darker. Some suggest it might have happened in the car late at night while the kids were inside the room. Others suspect the opposite, that it happened in the motel while the children were asleep, only feet away. Either way, it's disturbing. Kids should never be exposed to that level of blurred boundaries. And the fact that people even feel the need to speculate like this says everything. And remember, this isn't the first time there's been talk. Earlier this year, Stephanie's body started changing, just slightly. A small bump, some weight gain, a new shape to her face. She laughed it off at the time, calling it a hernia and even making jokes about turning her belly into content. But now, that same hernia looks a whole lot more like a cover-up. Because the symptoms are back. Her tone has changed. The joking has stopped. Now there's a stiffness in her voice, a guardedness that wasn't there before. And her followers have noticed. This isn't just gossip anymore. The vibe online has shifted. People who used to laugh at her antics are now making detailed analysis videos, drawing timelines, pointing out contradictions in her story. Whole threads are dedicated to breaking down her lives frame by frame. What started as teasing is quickly morphing into serious concern. And then there's the most unsettling twist of all, the break baby theory. It's been floating around for a while, and now it's gaining traction again. Stephanie and Drew have talked openly, too openly, about the idea of having another child just because they felt like it. Not because it was planned. Not because they were ready. Just because, and they've joked about it. More than once. On live streams. In front of people. Which, in a normal context, might just be weird. But in this context? It's flat out alarming. Because these aren't two adults with a stable foundation deciding to grow their family, they're two people already drowning, casually discussing throwing another child into the deep end with them. The lack of accountability between them is unreal. One floats an idea, the other co-signs it. No one pumps the brakes. No one questions the logic. They feed off each other's worst impulses, and the result is a home built on chaos and zero planning. Stephanie and Drew don't plan, they react. They scramble when things fall apart, and instead of doing the hard work to rebuild, they go live. They vent. They make content out of their meltdowns. And when help arrives, because people have helped, through donations, support, resources, they burn through it without building anything lasting. No new housing. No better food. No consistent schooling. No real change. At some point, people stopped believing this was just bad luck. It started looking like a pattern. Like dysfunction isn't just the background noise, it's the lifestyle. And while the adults seem to have adapted to it, the kids are trapped in it, with no way out. They're being raised in a place where parenting is performative, where emotions are monetized, and where survival is glamorized, but actual growth, actual healing, never happens. These kids aren't just dealing with poverty. They're dealing with instability, overstimulation, emotional neglect, and being pulled into situations that no child should ever have to navigate. They've become background characters in their parents' never-ending live stream saga. They're being raised in a loop, and each new baby just resets it. At this point, we're all hoping it's just stress, or burnout, or even anxiety showing up in Stephanie's behavior. But if it's not? If she really is pregnant again? Then this story is heading somewhere darker. The ones who will suffer most aren't the adults who caused the chaos, they're the children, quietly surviving inside it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this another internet overreaction, or are we watching something much more serious unfold right in front of us? Either way, something's not right. Tap that like and subscribe for the next update. We'll be keeping a close eye on what happens next.